What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with another brand new review for Family Empire Houston, Season 1, Episode number 3, you guys. This episode is titled Lakeshisa's Secret. So, before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and have me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Family Empire Houston, shall we? All right, you guys, so this episode, we see Jermisha. So Jermisha is, on the lot and she's meeting with Aunt Nikki and she's meeting with two developers, right? And I see what Jermisha is doing, but like I said last week, I think she's kind of putting, she's counting her chickens before the eggs hatch, so to speak. But like I said, I do get what she's doing. I think what would have been better is, take them out there, have them build up a plan of what can happen. But I think that's what she's doing ultimately. But I kind of feel like Jermisha is kind of setting herself up for failure because I honestly don't know if I believe that Granny Oscarine is willing to sell the land to the G2s. Honestly, I really think she's head set on selling it and making that one-time purchase. I really feel like that's what she wants to do, but we definitely will see what happens in the long run. And what I also will say is, listening to the developers, I did like what they were talking about because so they're going to build homes on this land. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they were talking about how big the houses can be. I think the developer said that it could be anywhere from 25 to 30 houses and they could all range from 300,000 up to $350,000. And I was like, okay, cool. And the thing I was like, but what we're not talking about is how much is it going to cost to develop this, this little community and build up a park and all that kind of stuff. I was like, how much is that going to cost? And he said between $7 and $10 million. And I was like, wow, it's a lot of money. And I think that was the thing that Jermisha was talking about if it wasn't last week's episode, it was episode 1 with Granny Oscarine being in her 90s, right? And then the G1s, that could be a whole lot of issues going forward because I'm pretty sure if they were to sell it to the G2s, the fact that they wouldn't get an immediate return on the investment would be probably cause some tension. I honestly do feel like that would cause some tension. And then how long would it take to build these 25 to 30 houses? And I got it. What they want to do is rent those houses out, and I'm cool with that. I think a lot of this has to deal with timing as well as financial gains, right? How much you're shelling out, how long is it? Like I said, how long is this project going to take? But we'll definitely see where they go from here. And also, you guys may hear the noise in the background. It's the people down at the pool, and today it's a lot of people down there. So next up, we see Nicole. So Nicole went out to dinner with her mom, and in this scene, I kind of was listening to Nicole talk, and I feel like Nicole is kind of sweeping some stuff under the rug, but we'll talk about it once we get to it. But Nicole is letting her mom know that she and Larry are talking about having another child. But, she was talking about how with her daughter Leighton, that it was kind of hard for her. She thought she was going to have to go the IVF route. But just before they were getting ready to go that route, she got pregnant naturally. So I'm like, okay, cool. Then, they talked about her relationship with Lakeisha, right? And, you know, I don't know if her mom was married to her dad when they got pregnant, and then he was dipping and doing with Keisha's mama. But I noticed, like I said earlier, it kind of feels like Nicole is trying to sweep some stuff under the rug. Let's talk about it as a family. Let's discuss it. But hey, it is what it is. These are Southern people, and that's one thing that we as Southern people do when stuff like that happens. You sweep it under the rug, and because it's even happened in my family. So you sweep it under the rug and you act like it don't didn't happen or it doesn't exist. So after that, we see as the Braden Realty, they're having a brunch for the brokers, right? So we get Jermisha. So Jermisha is talking to Nicole, and she's telling Nicole about meeting up with the developers, right? And Nicole's whole thing is like, "Did you talk to Granny about this?" And she's like, "We on the same page." Because, like I said, I get what Jermisha is doing. Jermisha is trying to get everything together so that way she can present it to Granny. I get that, and I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. Like I said, I just kind of feel like Granny is gonna do what she wants to do, and I ultimately think that Granny literally wants to sell that land. That's my thought process. But you guys are that's what I think. But maybe if Jermisha presents a good enough, but like I said a few minutes ago when we talked about it, the big problem is $7 to $10 million, number one, and then the problem that they talked about in the first episode or the second episode, I can't remember which one it was. How long is this going to take? Because if they sell it, that's a one-time deal, and they have money in their pockets. But I guess it would be the same if they sold it to the kids. Now I'm so really starting to sit here and think about it. It would be the same thing if they sold it to the kids, and the grandkids then go and develop it and they build on it. It's the same thing. But I guess from that point, with them knowing that they're going to be developing it, then they would be wondering how long is it going to take, what's the ROI, and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I get it. I definitely do get it. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. So we see that Keisha and her girlfriend Caramel are there, right? So Caramel is also in real estate. I think she's an agent or a broker, one of the two, right? And I'm gonna be honest, when they were talking about the fact that I think it was Keisha who said that she wants to work at the company. I was like, you don't think that this sounds just a little bit on the opportunistic side, just slightly opportunistic, slightly. I do believe that they love each other, but it when she said that, I was like, ooh, I kind of see why your family got a little bit of hesitation when it comes to Miss Keisha. I mean, not Miss Keisha, but Caramel. Now, Miss Keisha, we're gonna talk about you in a little bit too. So at one point, um they were up in front of the group talking. Like I said plenty of times before, I love the positivity of this show. I love the business aspect of this show, and I hope we stick with where we are now with this show. I don't want, like I've said plenty of times before in the first two episodes, I don't want this show to go down the same rabbit hole and the same. I don't want the same formula that we have with Bell Collective and with Love and Marriage Huntsville. I just don't want that, and I hope we don't get that. I hope that this show stays where it is currently. And like I said, I do definitely feel like there's something that happened in Larry and Nicole's marriage. Now, do I want to know what it is? Not really. I'm fine with not knowing what it is. But hey, it is what it is, you guys. So Nicole and Jermisha were talking about Chris, and you know, Jermisha was like, "Well, I think he knew about this, but I also think that he also had something else, a prior engagement planned in advance, right?" And we see Chris as he's doing his photo shoot with his client Melanie, right? What I will say is, I'm Team Chris. I really am, because I. It's like I said last week. Do I think that Chris, could have some issues with himself as well? Yes, especially when Justin was talking about it last week. I do think that there's some stuff there, but I also, like I said, I feel that because he's family, sometimes people think that, when it comes to business, sometimes you treat family different than you would people that you just hire from off the street, right? You wouldn't treat people, you don't, with your family, you feel like, oh, that's family, we can do this, we can do that. But when it's somebody that you're actually hiring off, just hiring flat out, you can't treat them any kind of way. And I'm not saying that that's what they're doing. I just feel like it's probably lacks on both Chris's side and Jermisha and Nicole's side. But you guys will definitely tell me what you think and what you feel about that in the comments section, you guys. Um, but yeah, I'm I'm Team Chris. I'm Team Chris for right now. So then we see as they talk to Caramel. Now I will say that I did kind of feel where Caramel came from later in the episode because we were having a conversation about work and business, but then that work and business conversation translated in trans not translated, but transformed itself into a conversation about Caramel and Lakeisha's relationship. Now, Lakeisha, no, 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 I'm not even gonna put this on Lakeisha. I'm gonna put a little bit on her as we get later into the review, and probably not even then. So when Lakeisha's mom passed away, the family has an issue with Caramel because when her mom passed away, Lakeisha and Caramel they had an argument with each other, right? Now they didn't really go into deep detail about the argument. Well, yes, they did, because Caramel asked Lakeisha why was her ex contacting her, and I was like, "Here's my thing: her mom passed away. You don't know the relationship that her mom and that woman may have had with each other. So they could have had a great relationship, and she could have just been calling like, man, hey, like, hey, I know your mama died. I just want to check on you, make sure you're good. I've done that with the ex, right? Because we didn't end on bad terms, and there was a death in the family. I said, I reached out. I was like, if you need anything, you can call me. Hit me up anytime, right? I know some people will say, some people might say, well, you know, that might be an open, some people see that as an open door, right? If you set the boundary that this ain't what you think is going, it's not going to go anywhere on both sides, then I think you're good. But I also think that that was bad timing on Caramel's part, right? Her mama just passed away. Give her some time. Like if you want to ask her what it was, I don't have a problem with that. It was your timing. Like why would you pick that particular time to do that? Like it wasn't a good time. But I definitely want you guys to tell me, where you guys sit with that. Like are you on Caramel side or are you on my side? Because and it's okay if you guys agree with Caramel. It is. I just thought that there was poor timing. The girl's mama passed away, and you do that. Okay, you know. But again, like I said, tell me your comments. Tell me what you guys think and feel down in the comments section below, and we'll move on, you guys. So next up, you guys, we got Chris. Chris, like I said, I like Chris. We see Chris. He's with his son. They're making spaghetti, and Jaquita is still down there in Mexico, right? Now, Jaquita told him that she had 5 shots because they went to a distillery and tasted tequila, right? And Chris at one point was talking to her about the fact that he hasn't gotten the contract that Jermisha and Nicole and him talked about in episode 1. He ain't got that contract yet, and so he doesn't want to go into the office. And again, I don't blame him. If we don't have it in black and white, and it lays out what is going to be done on all parties, then I'm not coming in. Now, would I quit? No. But would I put my foot down and be like, something's got to be done because we can't keep work. What we're doing is not working. So we need something in place so that way you know what it is and I know what it is. But also, like I said earlier, Team Chris, but I want not Jamisha, but Jaquita. I want you to have your husband's back just a little bit. I really do. But that's that. Let me know where you guys stand as well with that. The next thing we have, it was kind of a little fluff scene with Jamisha and Justin. So Justin has a show coming up. So we find out that Justin is a singer as well as, he works for Braden Realty, right? Now, what I will say about Jamisha, I like Jamisha. Jamisha is my girl, right? But when she was talking about that, you know, they're stretched thin, I was like, I believe that. You got three kids, you're a wife, you're a business owner, you're a boss. Like, yeah, you're trying to be superwoman. And sometimes superwoman needs to be able to say, I can't do everything. I need a little bit of help here. I need a little bit of help there. I need some help. And I think that's what Jamisha needs to say is I need some help. That's all I got to say. Jamisha needs to say she needs some help. So next up, you guys, we have Keisha and Caramel. So they are looking at a home and they're talking about blending their families. Now, let me go back to that scene because I know not Caramel, I know Keisha has a son, but I could have swore it said on that thing that her son was 20. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I read that wrong, but they're blending their families, right? The house they looked at, it was okay. It wasn't my taste, but it was like it was okay, right? So we sat down with Keisha and Caramel. So Caramel told Keisha how she felt about the brunch, how we were talking about business at one point, but then it went from us talking about business to it got pretty personal. And so, Caramel was asking Keisha, like, did you tell them what your part was in the whole situation? And I was like, what was her part? So we find out that when her mom died, now I don't know if she was, well, she said she was single, but she thought that she could be mature enough to have a relationship with her ex, right? And sometimes people can be mature enough to have a relationship with their ex and just be strictly friendship and strictly platonic, right? But she says that, uh, Caramel set her boundary and she didn't respect her boundary. But here's my thing again. Like I said a minute ago, you don't know what the relationship was between her ex and her mom. Like they could have had a great relationship, and she could have just been checking on her to make I mean, she could have just been checking on her. And here's another thing. Like I said about my ex, our relationship didn't end in turmoil, in grief. I mean, in turmoil, in strife, or nothing like that. It was amicable, right? So it could have been that with them. They could have just ended as friends. But I mean, I get it. If you want to set boundaries, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, I still think it was poor timing. I will say that I definitely think it was poor timing to get mad at her and ask these questions after her mama just passed away. Like you couldn't wait at least a month or at least until after the funeral. At least give her the funeral. At least give her at least give the woman to the funeral before you bring it up. So Keisha said that she gonna text her family and nip it in the bud because it's obvious that they've been having side conversations. And I was like, yeah, they've definitely had side conversations, but I mean that's any family because me and my family do that with some of my cousins. Like actually, we just I don't know if this cousin know about my YouTube channel. Let's see. Because me and my family just had a side conversation about one of my cousins this past week. Well, last week actually, 4th of July. We had a side conversation about one of my cousins. Damn, can I say this? Jesus, how can I say this? How can I say this? So, one of my cousins was married, right? One of my cousins was married. My cousin is no longer married anymore. And my cousin moved on to another relationship. And we had a side conversation about that, right? Because my cousin was in the relation in the marriage for well over 20 years. They have kids together, but their kids are now grown, and now they're divorced. And my cousin has moved on to another person, which is a complete downgrade from the spouse. Oh God, I hope. Okay, that's all I can say. But yeah, so my family and I had a side conversation, so I whatever. I ain't really mad at her, but she did send her family a text message, and so we get to the day of Justin's performance, right? And everybody's showing up: Jermisha, Jaquita, Nicole, Aunt Nikki. Jaquita's asking, I'm like, so what was that text message that we got from Lakeshisa? So Jermisha and Nicole explained it to her, and then Monet came in as well, right? And Aunt Nikki came in. Now, Aunt Nikki, I like Aunt Nikki, but you kind of, I mean, oh, because Aunt Nikki them and her, they seem to have had a little, it wasn't gonna be a little tussling right there. When Aunt Nikki told her that she forgot all about her, I was like, oh, that ain't what you want to say. You could have just told her, girl, you're just so quiet. Well, she did kind of say that. She did say that too. Never mind. Never mind. That was because I was gonna try to make it better, but that don't because she probably still would have took it in a bad way. But they waiting for them to come, and then they came, and that's actually where the episode ended, you guys. But you guys tell me what you guys thought about this episode of Family Empire Houston. Great episode. Leave your comments down in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post notifications and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.